Greetings.
Going on, man? We back. Episode 6, man. Another one in the books, man. How was your weekend, man? How was your Valentine's Day?
It was good. It was a good Valentine. I'm not a big guy who wants to fall in the traps of, spending a ton of money. Actually, I'm curious to see the stat for how much money was spent on Valentine's Day this year. I don't have that on hand, but I'm curious about that. But it was good, though. Very blessed. How was yours?
Good, man. Can't complain. I think it's always a blessing when you can spend time with your lady, spend time with people you care about for the weekends. Good, no complaints. Definitely in the same boat. Not trying to cheap out, but definitely don't want to be dropping, you feel me, like car down payments on a weekend, you feel me? So, I 100% agree with you on that one, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely not. And to everybody who is balancing multiple things on Valentine's, whether you have a friend's like Galentine, or I think there's something new this year, Guyentine or Malentine, whatever they calling it with the dudes.
I don't know about no Galentines.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying for people who balancing that with somebody else, or you balancing, multiple people, all power to you. I hope them pockets are good.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, like I said, we always come. So I know we off our normal cadence as usual. Has some readjusting of schedules for Valentine's Day and spending time with people for this past weekend. But like I said, we back with our 6th episode. We got a couple of topics for today we want to walk through. Not sure. Me and Tom, we were just talking about this before. Neither of us was really tuned in, but NBA All-Star Weekend just wrapped up in LA with a new tournament format. I really couldn't tell you what they got going on now. I don't think I didn't watch a single event. Just seeing like the clips on Twitter and stuff.
Shout out A&T. That's all I know.
Yeah, for real. Shout out A&T, man. The biggest
Hampton
man.
Too.
Went out there, was in LA, putting on a show. Came back with the dub last few seconds. So shout out A&T for sure. But yeah, we're gonna hop into our topics for today, man. I'm sure y'all getting tired of hearing this, but it's just like it's a new headline about it every week. Big tech is dropping $650 billion on AI data centers. Billions for the B. Tax season is everybody panicking about the W-2s. They don't understand. Samsung is about to drop another AI-powered phone that nobody asked for. Meanwhile, you're code switching through your third meeting of the day. Your Instagram looks absolutely nothing like real life. And you're wondering why nobody taught you about what a Roth IRA is and how it functions until you turn 25 years old. So yeah, we jumping into a few topics we kind of cooked up for today's episode, and we are definitely excited to hear your feedback, hear your engagement about the things we talk about, things you want to hear, and just kind of ways we can improve as we continue to record and ramp up and keep on putting out good content for you guys.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We want to hear some feedback. We want to know what you guys want to hear. And like Malcolm said, the topics that we're going into, it's all important. I know a lot of it can be, you might get tired of hearing about the same things, but this stuff is important. This is stuff that's not being talked about. You want to go see what's happening on the streets, tap in with Drewski. You want to see what's happening in the markets, tap in with those people. We're trying to give you the real and keep you informed, for the people.
Nah, man, I appreciate that, man. But yeah, we as always, we're gonna give our quick little disclaimer. Today, as always, the views expressed on this podcast are strictly our own and do not represent our employers or any affiliated organizations. We are not financial advisors, tax professionals, or legal experts. We are sharing our personal perspectives and deconstructing these industries in real time, but none of this is professional advice. Always do your own due diligence and consult with qualified professionals before making major moves. We're learning how to join us, but the plays you make are your own. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our first question, man. And we call this the 100K question. So it's something we didn't have to start a podcast, really have discussions about, but why don't we teach money in school? You can graduate college with honors. You can graduate with an engineering degree, one of the most advanced engineering or medicine degrees in the world, and still not know how to file taxes, not understand how to how compound interest works, how to negotiate a salary. Financial literacy keeps people trapped in cycles of debt and limits economic mobility. So why is this not taught everywhere? From high schools, from college classes? And what would it look like if financial education was as fundamental as math or reading? What if it was a cornerstone of educational curriculum everywhere? And who benefits from keeping people in the dark and not understanding financial literacy to its fullest extent?
That's That's the $1 million question. We say 100K question. That right there, that's the
Nah,
deeper, lower
facts.
level question. I mean, and just to kind of give some quick facts about this, just to preface the conversation and kind of like what our questions and topics or conversation here is about. So first, only 21 states in the U.S. require high school students to take a personal finance course. That's kind of crazy. That's
That's OD.
less than half
Yeah.
the states got kids graduating without any education or financial education. So that's 58% of American students graduate without any formal financial education, yet they're expected to make six-figure decisions about student loans. And that's not just student loans, right? That's car loans, housing loans. You go
Credit
to
card
trade
debt,
school,
all of that.
credit card debt. It's like you get dropped on your backside when you're 18 years old. And then just another fact, Americans paid over $12 billion in overdraft fees in 2023 alone. The average American pays $1,155 per year in credit card interest, money that could be invested and compound to over $100,000 by retirement. It's pretty crazy to me.
That's some numbers. And that, once again, it's another thing. Like, people just don't understand the power of time and compound interest. Like, in parallel is really kind of like, these numbers don't seem bad today, but over the span of 10, 20, 30 years, just like everything else, it adds up and it grows, it snowballs.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen the stories. I think I said this in another episode. The stories about like janitors or people that have like really like minimum wage jobs, and by the time they're 60, 70, they have over $1 million in the market or saved up somewhere. It's time in the market. It beats anything. Like I was just reading about, was it some guy, I forgot his name, but he was like a big investor in the 70s and 80s, and he had basically was trying to convert all his money into silver because that was the time the U.S. stopped using the gold standard in 1970 or 71. And he wanted to, I think his name was something Hunt. It was something Hunt. But he put all his money on silver. It went up to I think $50 per ounce, and then everything was good, and it literally crashed. He went broke. He was the richest man alive at the time. Went absolutely broke, and the government had to intervene because so much was reliant on what his company was involved in. All of that stuff goes together just to show you time in the market. I mean, it might have dropped at the time, but if you look at silver now, I just looked it up. I think silver is like 70 something dollars per ounce. I mean, would have been up a little bit, but you just got to hold on. Time in the market is better than throwing the money away.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think that um about the question about like why it isn't taught everywhere, I think it's unfortunately, as bad as it sounds, I think this is done intentionally. And it's like a lot of the issues that we kind of read over and just think there's like just a simple fix, like, hey, start teaching this, start. It's just these are systematic issues that disproportionately affect. It's like, I feel like decisions like these are made to keep low income communities low income, to keep high income wealthy communities high income and wealthy. Like these are the type of decisions that just continue to subtly widen the wealth gap. And people that get the short end of the stick, minority communities, people with access to not the best education, who don't have like the most top tier, high class quality education about finances. It's a cycle, right? Like, only thing we're taught is, hey, learn these algebraic formulas, learn the slope equation, learn your go to English class, history, blah, blah, blah. But all that is the end goal is always, hey, get a degree, get a job. But there's nothing about like, hey, what about the S&P 500? Hey, what about investing and creating compound interest? Hey, what about why is it that these, like, do you like, how better off would people be, especially in our community, if they were taught these things and the importance of them, and they were given visuals and analytics and data to show like the power of compound interest over time? Why do we have to go out and find, like, it's like something this major should not be a hidden gem, like something that moves the economy or is as dependent on it as like something like the stock market? Why is this something that's like just not readily available and already integrated into our classes? I think, like, there are certain classes, I don't know. I'm not saying that we should remove classes that we already took, because I think that it'd be crazy to kind of eliminate. I think it's already a bit crazy how tests like the SAT and ACT kind of only test you on your like how adequate you are at math and reading when there are plenty of other skills that students can have, such as culinary, art. Like there's no way to test that on SAT, ACT. I'm not saying replace those type of classes that kind of supplement your learning outside of, the basic, math, sciences, reading, but there has to be a way to fit some type of financial literacy into those schedules. And when we talk about the people who benefit from keeping people in the dark, I think it's the people that you named before. It's the car payment companies, it's the loan payment companies, it's the student loans, it's the fast food people. Like it's the people that reap the benefit of someone being pressured to make a decision that they're not fully informed about, and they position their companies and they position themselves in the market to be able to reap the benefits of it. It's a sick way to go about it, but it's like it's America, bro. I don't put nothing past nobody. So I think if I had to guess who benefits from keeping people in the dark, it's the people that, that benefit from getting these loan payments and from people just not making informed financial decisions. And another thing, like another one of the facts that Thomas had read over briefly, families in the top income quartile are 5 times more likely to have conversations about money management with their children compared to families in the bottom quartile, perpetuating cycles of financial literacy across generations. And when I mentioned before about how these types of like systematic issues disproportionately affect people in minority communities, is exactly what I'm talking about. It's one thing to have it in school, but it starts at home. All of it, and it's like, I'm blessed to say this, but all of my financial literacy and money management skills came from dinner table talks with like my dad or my mom, talking about the importance of saving. We can't expect these things to happen in the school if they don't even happen or they're not reinforced at home.
Yeah, that's facts. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a great point. And then what you were saying about who's at the top, like who's keeping the people in the dark,
Mm-hmm.
we America is built on it. You got to think minorities were never a part of the plan for America, other than labor, like objects. So let's think like how much old black money is in America. Like when you think of old money, you think Vanderbilt's, Rockefeller.
Yeah,
Um,
there is none of that.
there's no old black money. And even now, you look at black dynasties or like wealthy black people that have been built up. We're just getting our first black billionaires in the last like 30 years. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some before that, but the ones that come to mind like Robert Smith, Jay-Z, LeBron, like those are just the names that come to mind off the top. And you got to think like those families that are having those conversations, black in other communities like minorities couldn't even have those conversations because they for one, they try to keep you illiterate. Two, they try to keep you out of those rooms. Don't even want you, on the wall cleaning because you might pick up some useful knowledge while you back there, straightening up cups and tables.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of it is the people at the top just trying to get things figured out. And that's not to say it's only minorities that get screwed over. I mean, look at West Virginia. I mean, I think if people really want to be honest about it, I feel like there's 2 types of minorities. There's really more, but just 2 broad ones. You have minority by race and you have minority by class. You look at, there's a lot of low income whites in America who are not a part of those conversations, who are not in that top quartile. They're not in those top percentages, and the people that are in those don't want them there because they need people at the bottom. Like nowadays, there's really no middle class. So I think you were blessed to have those conversations, and I was blessed to learn some stuff. And I think we're at the beginning. We're like 400 years behind. So just trying to get stuff going.
Yeah. Nah, and I think another kind of angle that you can look at this at is that, like I said, it's also one thing to have the learnings that we would want to be in school systems to be reinforced at home, but we also have to think about the environment that people come up in. At the end of the day, people are the products of their environment. I can learn all I want in school. My parents can tell me everything they want to, but at the end of the day, if I'm surrounded by people who spend all their money on the latest jewelry, fancy, flashiest cars, newest clothes, most latest sneaks, newest pair of Jordans, over and over and over again, it's going to be like a clash of ego and a clash of like kind of like book knowledge, and more times than not, like contrary to what most people think, like the book knowledge does not always win, right? Like, and the people that are products of their environment, there are some people that kind of break through that. They kind of break through that, kind of like set parameters, like the kind of box that they're given by their environment. Those are like incredible success stories. Like I said, these questions, these aren't the type of things that are just like plug and play. Like, hey, drop in a new curriculum here and just like watch. Like these are things that have to kind of be like gradually and kind of like approach like very systematically, like across a very wide span. This isn't something that you can just drop into like a a random school in the deep south and then expect the butterfly effect to kind of just like, handle the rest. But yeah, no, that's tough.
Start them young, man.
That's
People
some
need to start watching Bluey and start.
the
I feel like we were younger, like it was like stuff like Dora, like that gets you like to learn a little Spanish, but it's still
hmm
a fun show for kids. I think they should have more, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, kids. I mean, I mean, I think kids shows are like, or the producers of them, they're looking strictly to who can kind of garner the most attention from children, not so much teaching them the most. I don't think that that's like I wouldn't know. I haven't watched a kid show since I've been a kid, obviously, but I would like to think that all their hearts are not in the place or have the most pure intentions of just teaching kids, the right things, the right lessons, the right principles. But yeah, I don't know. It's scary to think about that, man. I think just think about like how different our communities, not even our communities, how different America would be, in terms of financial crisis if we were just kind of like these type of principles were instilled in us, the importance of saving, the importance of investing, just kind of like just giving people like the like it's like you can't expect people to make these decisions and you never gave them the tools to work with them. Like it's a
Just
backwards process.
imagine how, like, I know a lot of people think like, oh, everybody can't be smart, everyone can't be involved. Just imagine if the baseline was financial awareness and everybody had financial awareness. The people at the top could definitely still be at the top. Like, no one's trying to say, you shouldn't have your wealth, you earned, you worked for whatever, you feel like you should have whatever. No one's saying that maybe people are saying that they want you, completely broke, just out the
Yeah, I think
picture.
they do. I think that even as wealthy as they are, the billions and billions and billions that they have, they'd be damned if we had an extra $10 to our name.
But that's
Like
true.
I mean, like the way I look at it is that I can never like I'm like the way that like guys like Elon and Bezos and the founders of Google and like all the guys that are like the top 1%. These guys could solve world hunger with the snap of a finger if they just pulled their research together. I mean, this would be like maybe a percent of their total. They would roll over in their graves before they ever did something like that. So it's like I kind of look at it as the same thing as when it comes to teaching people or anything that could possibly, because if we're talking about baseline, most Americans, we talked about this in a previous episode, most Americans don't even have not even financial literacy, but basic reading literacy. So we're already thinking like we're already getting ahead of ourselves, expecting people to have a baseline of financial literacy when most people can't even read past the sixth grade level, right? So it's like it's as crazy as it sounds. We have to slow our roll when we're talking about anything past reading past the sixth grade level, which is crazy to say. Like I said, circumstances do matter, but I'm like I don't think these like top because I personally think America right now is like uh, what's the word? Oligarchy, like with all the rich people, like just colluding and telling Trump, yo, yeah, do this. We're going to keep like I don't know if you saw the new tax law in California. Now all the billionaires are moving to Hawaii, Florida. Have you seen that? The new
I haven't seen that.
Gavin Newsom. It's like the no billionaire tax law,
I think I
and
saw something along those lines. I didn't know it was that big though.
no, it's a proposed 2020 California. It's a proposed act. The California 2026 Billionaire Tax Act is a ballot initiative aiming to impose a one-time 5% tax on the net worth of California residents with over $1 billion in assets. So it only targets 200 people with a net worth of over $1 billion in assets. It'd be a one-time 5% tax net worth,
They
bro.
can't just cough up one
That's
one
what
time
that's,
5%.
so that's what I'm saying. If these, but I mean, you have to think 5% of. I mean, I'm thinking if you're over a billion in California, you're probably like well into the billions. Like we're not talking about LeBron James. We're talking about like the Mark Zuckerbergs. Like we're talking about them type dudes. If they would not
Okay,
cough
five
up,
percent of your total net worth.
and what's bro?
I
What is
mean,
five
yeah,
percent of Mark? Let's see if we even did. What's Mark Zuckerberg's net worth?
they would just have to sell a bunch of shares because they always say they don't have that liquid, which obviously they're not,
They don't.
trillionaires liquid.
Yeah, a lot of it is like it's either borrowed against the bank or it's just like assets and like stocks, But his net worth is 226 billion. 5% of that will be about 11.3 billion.
I mean, look,
11
if he feels comfortable gambling, I don't know what their number is, but I'm just going to take the average of what it was
like
recently.
600. Yeah, you
No,
talking
but
about on the spending
the
for
AI stuff. If he's comfortable spending over 100 billion towards AI and all that stuff of other people, like the company's money that a lot of people who work for them rely on the stock, 11 billion is nothing. for somebody like that, if you're just throwing around 100 billion anyway.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, if these dudes will not cough up a 5% tax to remain in the same state that they built these technological empires in from the ground up, what makes you think they would cough up a 1% to change the world in a way that doesn't advance the initiatives of their company? Like anything outside of that, like world hunger, disease, poverty, educate, like they wouldn't do that. That's why I'm like, bro, that's why I would never ever expect, and I will never be like a billionaire defender ever, just because like, bro, the stuff that you are capable of doing, like you literally, I've seen calculate, like you can't spend the money that these guys have in your lifetime 10 times over. You could, even if you tried to spend that much money, you could not.
And
What's Elon worth? Like $800 billion? You can buy everything on the earth like 5 times over. You still cannot, like you could not. You could buy every NFL team in the world. You probably buy every major like sports franchise in the world, and you still wouldn't.
That's facts. And that's what I'm saying. Like they have the power, and that's why it's crazy to me when people blame. I see a lot of people talking trash about Governor Newsom. I'm not too analytical of California politics, but my thing is, if people are in the states are making this much money, why are we pointing fingers at the politicians? Well, I'm not saying politicians are, saying free and clear. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if you have a state with people, over 200 billionaires who have the money to fix a lot of the problems in the state. People talk about the crime in LA. People talk about this and that in LA and prices and gas. And I'm like, these people have the money to do it, and they're trying to get the taxes from them. If I'm in LA and I make $100K a year, why is it that I'm giving 30-40% of my money to California and I'm barely surviving even though I'm making $100K, and these billionaires who actually have the money to fix a lot of stuff I'm being taxed for, they're not contributing, or they find all the loopholes and blah blah blah, and people say, oh, you can do it too. No, the way you make money is different. It's hard to find loopholes on a W-2. These dudes aren't getting paid W-2s. They're getting stocks.
These dudes are getting like that really be. I mean, it's easy to make a loophole when you're getting 6 million shares of your own company. You feel me? So I don't know. It's one of them. Like I said, it's one of the discussions we can go on all day, man. But we're gonna move on to our next topic. I think they all equally just as informative and rewarding to talk about. But next one, we're gonna talk about we touched on this briefly. But this one's about who are you when nobody's watching. So we're talking about digital identity and authentic self. And this is one of them things I think it's a few lenses you can look at this through. Let's just talk, right? So you have your LinkedIn persona, you have your Instagram aesthetic, your Twitter hot takes, your Discord personality. But which one is the real you? In a world where we curate multiple versions of ourselves across platforms, what does authenticity even mean anymore? Can you genuinely be yourself online, or is the internet across all social media platforms fundamentally a performance? And like Tom said, we'll preface this with a couple facts, right? So the average person maintains 7 to 8 different social media profiles, each one with subtly or dramatically different personas tailored to different audiences. So think about when we say 7 to 8 different media profiles, we're not talking about on a single app. We're not saying that you have 7 to 8 different Instagram profiles. We're saying that across social media apps. So you have your Instagram account, you have your Facebook account, you have your Discord, your Reddit, your Twitter, your TikTok, your LinkedIn, etc. We can go down this list. Most people have 7 to 8 different social media profiles, and each one is tailored to different audiences. Think about like how you act on your LinkedIn versus how you act on your close friends on Instagram. That's the simplest example I can give you, right? And studies show that 62% of young professionals admit to significantly curating or filtering their online presence to appear more successful than they feel, leading to imposter syndrome by design.
That's real.
So we're going to repeat the question one more time, right? So in a world where we create multiple versions of ourselves across platforms, can you genuinely be yourself online, or is the internet fundamentally a performance?
That's a hard question. I feel like at this point, there's no difference for a lot of people. The internet is who they are. That's where they spend most of their time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good take. I think that's actually like one of the best ways you can put it. I also think that depending on how you use the internet, I think that depending on how you use and leverage the internet will kind of determine your answer to this question a lot. to some people, right? Like your content creators, people that actually make money through content and putting stuff out there on the internet, whether it's a facade or whether it's the real them, they're going to have a different take on it than someone who just doom scrolls all day or just is on Instagram, on the internet casually, which, you know, everyone is entitled to. But I think that depending on which of those kind of like spheres or social spheres you're in, I think that heavily influences how you answer this question. I think that in our case, from what I've seen at least, everything is a performance. Everything is an attempt to one up, to look like you are something that you're not. Everything, and I've even found that, like, I feel like now, I guess, like with our circles, or like kind of like, I feel like the more you do, the more genuine you act, the more people kind of like look down on it.
Yeah.
It's weird, bro, because it's like if we were to really act ourselves on all these different apps, on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever, we would be like, I think we'd be oversharing a lot more. We'd be showing a lot more people the real us. But I don't know where it came from, but I guess it's like over the years, there's just become like this prerequisite and this requirement to have like this level of mysteriousness and allure and like sense of like discovery, to kind of like, you have to find out who I am through what I do share with you to actually understand myself. And I feel like even still, the internet is still only like, I feel like it's still only a quarter, not even a quarter, a sliver of who you really are in real life. I'm like, I don't think anybody, if I gave them any, I don't think no social media profile that I have, I think will tell you my entire story. Like, and I think that's how it should be. I don't think that, I wouldn't want someone to be able to tell everything about me from A to Z from one glance at like my LinkedIn or my Twitter or whatever. But there's a fine line between not knowing everything about a person and pretending to be somebody you're not in an act to try to impress your following.
And take me back to pre-2014 social media. Take me back to when Vine.
I don't think I had a phone.
I didn't have a phone, and then I had my iPod though.
Yeah,
iPod Touch.
bro. Vine was actually like, yeah, Vine
That was
one
when
of the
things were
ones,
real,
man.
bro.
Yeah,
Vine.
people was
like,
actually doing what they like. That's the thing. I wish I had the memories to like really, because all I can really remember about social media at least is like from high school to now.
Nah, bro. I got memory, bro. Like I remember sitting on the couch, like sitting there looking at Instagram. I remember when Instagram was like, people were posting their like just regular pictures. Like
Yeah,
someone would take a
anything.
picture of their room and be like, "Oh, look at this poster I got," on their main page.
Yeah.
I remember like Vine, like people were on Vine. I remember soundboards. I remember OG YouTube where it was literally just home films. Like people pick up a camera, hey, look at this cool thing I made. You know, look at me do this backflip. Like I think for one, social media is one of the biggest downfalls of humanity. I think social media, the creation of social media, can be directly linked to a lot of things that are wrong with society today. But I do think that it's because people don't know when to stop pushing the envelope. Social media, before it became a business, before it became a modeling thing, before, you know, people were using it for clout, like back when it was just fun, like it was chilled, like a little grainy and real. I think that was when it matters. Like now, back to your point about people not liking realism. Now, if you get on there and you're real, like you're just having a blunt experience, you're just sharing something like openly, people don't care, bro. The only people I see that make like home looking videos that actually get some sort of like traction is if they're doing something crazy, like literally just acting insane, or you know, people might just record themselves and have a hot take, but that's like if they've already got a following, and it might have been because they were on social media 10, 15 years ago to even get to this point. Like one dude, his name on YouTube is Penguin Zero. His name's Charlie. He's been on YouTube forever. A lot of people would know him. If you look at Penguins Zero on YouTube, he has like he's always wearing a white t-shirt. He got like long hair. You know, he's been on YouTube for a long time. He just turns the camera on, he talks, he doesn't do a whole lot of editing, but he's also a YouTube OG. Like he's been on here for a very long time. But like if I tried to do that, if I went on YouTube and just turned the camera on, even if it was good quality, just started talking, sharing thoughts and facts, no one would care. You need a crazy loud intro. I think that's why we look at people now. Like Speed is doing good, changing his character, or not his character, but changing his I guess the way that he's perceived and like his brand. Kai Cenat, I think he's still trying to figure all that out because you can't be high energy, high octane all the time.
Actually, to your point, I think that Kai, and not to sound like the thing, I mean, I don't even sit and watch like dudes stream, but I think that Kai Cenat is like a really good example of how we can kind of make this like a tangible argument, right? Like Kai Cenat is known for being one of the, if not the most popular streamer in the world. Like he always has awesome guests on the show, bunch of funny clips. He's always doing something like insane, right? Or just, super funny. Always has like, A-list celebrities on with him, whatever. I think we all know the story about him. I think that him, like, just the backlash he's received from trying to rebrand himself to actually start posting what we would call real content. Now, you can argue that some of it is a bit corny or performative, but I think that kind of goes like, this is somebody trying to do something different than what he normally does. He's trying to break out of his shell. He's trying to like create a new avenue for himself. He's trying to read to, be a better public speaker. He's trying to start a clothing brand. He's trying to, be more authentic in what he's kind of showing people. And for the most part, what I've seen, he's been getting straight hate. Oh, you corny, bro. You performative, you this, that. But it's like, this is a prime example. One of the largest internet profiles or celebrities in the world rebranding themselves from doing what everyone isn't used to, trying to be real, trying to be authentic and genuine. And look at the feedback and the backlash he's gotten now. I'm sure that when he does drop his clothing brand, and it's actually like a lot harder than what people expected it to be, everybody's going to switch up because that's the cool thing to do, right? So it's like the one time someone who seems so kind of like on top of the world kind of grounds themselves and make them kind of like eye level with someone who may be like a normal average Joe, you get hate for it. So it's like, if that's the type of kind of feedback he's getting to someone who's in like a social spirit all the way up here, what do you think that kind of like, how do you think people operate on a day-to-day basis who are nowhere near that level, right? Like, I just think that I don't know. I just feel like stuff like that just kind of like just perpetuates this cycle of trying to be somebody on the internet, trying to like everyone. It's like everyone has to hold up like there's obviously there's your personal brand, there's a reputation. I feel like there's something different with social media. Like it's like everyone has like this aura that they have to just uphold at all times. Like people don't know how to separate their ads from their government names. Like, bro, like you can be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can be yourself, bro. Like it's okay, brother. But
The internet is dead. I
yeah, like it's cooked, bro. It's
so,
that's scary, man. That's why I always like urge people, like something I've done personally. And I even got my girlfriend to do the same thing, but like just like downloading apps that kind of like reduce your screen time and how much you are exposed to these type of platforms like on a day to day, it changes your life because I think that people don't realize like how deeply and how often they are immersed in this stuff. Like it doesn't, it's hard. Like it's like another fact will say that kind of thing as research indicates that people spend an average of 53 minutes per day managing their digital identity across platforms. That's 6 hours per week performing versions of yourself. 6 hours a week dedicated strictly to how you appear to others online. Crazy, bro.
it's a crazy world we live in, man. It's never enough. Like the social media thing, it's never enough. I really think social media, especially with the age of AI and the data centers and all that stuff, it's over. Like we've taken it too far. We're at a point. Social media it doesn't matter anymore. And I feel bad for everybody who's trying to like, make it in that space. I hope you do truly. But at the same time, it's cooked. I mean, like Malcolm said, we're seeing what they're doing to Kai Cenat, one of the biggest internet personalities of the modern day, seeing how they're doing him. I mean, we see how they talk about how they do LeBron James, and he's not even an internet personality, but just somebody who's been in the spotlight. So this constant push and strive to be there at the top, I don't think people realize like it's not what you think. I mean, look at what was that? I don't know the couple, but that couple that were together since they were teenagers and got married, just got divorced or something. They broke up. The light skinned couple that did the little funny husband and wife videos. People know what I'm talking about. I can't remember their
I have
names.
no idea personally. I don't know.
She basically he would laugh, like he would like always do like a really obnoxious laugh in their older videos. But like this was a topic like a month or two ago because it kind of like came out they were getting divorced. It's like if you're constantly recording, constantly making family based content, couples based content, it's like what is going on? It's not even a partnership. I wouldn't even call it a working agreement because it's just your life is content.
Wait,
So
are you
it's like
talking
when
about
is it
Queen
real?
Naja?
No. It was a light skinned dude. He had a mustache. And his wife was
Post content.
no, I know I didn't. You don't have to. It was like big people in the comments or people listening know what I'm talking about. I forgot their names. but they
CJ
have
So
like
Cool.
no, it's a newer, not newer. They've been around for a while. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, but no, on your point though, it's crazy. Like I'm just talking about it, but actually, over 40% of the world's population use one of Meta's apps every single day. So 40% of the world's population, that's over 3.5 billion people every single day are interacting with one of Meta's ecosystem apps every single day. So between Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or Messenger, people are using 40%, over 40% of the world's population is using this every single day. We're not like the clock is never turning back. Right? Like I hope people understand like it's never gonna like we're never gonna become less technologically advanced, but I think it's just important to be able to disassociate between real life and this ecosystem that we are so deeply immersed in that we don't know how to kind of like separate between fact and fiction. I just think it's scary what it can be and what it can do when there are kind of like no like restraints involved. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cooked, man. I ain't gonna lie.
No, it's cool. I did find the that couple. It was Christy and Desmond Scott.
No bells being wrong.
I mean, look, that just shows you're good. You're doing exactly what we're trying to tell people to do. Get off social media. Could have lived the rest of my life never even knowing that these people existed. But for over years they just popped up on my stuff, like page or whatever, like just because she would like do a pranker. I don't know. He's just laughing. I don't know. It's family content. But yeah. So people listening, y'all know Christy and Desmond Scott, I guess formerly. That's what I was talking about. Stuff ruins marriages.
Cook, man, cook. But yeah, man, get off socials. Keep podcasts installed so you can keep listening to other stuff. Delete everything else. Now keep Instagram. Keep like following our page, but everything else can basically go.
Follow your passions on Instagram. Stop following and watching these brain rot. Stay up to date. If you're gonna be on social media, stay up to date with good sourced news. Stay up to date with people. Like use it for that. If you open Instagram and the first thing you see is some world star clip or something from the shade room, I suggest you try to find something that's a little bit more in line with your positive wavelengths.
Yeah, man, it's for sure cooked on that end. But we are going to jump into our next topic. Something I think that I personally can speak to. I think very very deeply. But we're gonna talk about code switching in corporate America and the cost of fitting in. Right. So whether it's your accent, your hairstyle, your communication style, or your cultural references, many people have to adjust who they are to fit workplace norms. And we want to understand, like, what's the psychological toll of constantly translating yourself, of constantly changing who you really are to fit into what's expected, what's the norm, in your 9 to 5 corporate space, and whose responsibility is it to change? Is it the individual or the institution? Should institutions be more inclusive? Should they be more open? Should they be more receptive to people coming from different cultural backgrounds? Or is it the individual's responsibility to clean up their look and make themselves more professional? And I hope we understand that this more professional, like, stigma, this only applies to certain demographics. I really hope people understand that like more or less professional only applies to specific demographics. And I won't elaborate, but if you know, you know. But yeah, quick facts on this one. Research shows that 60% of Black professionals and 40% of Latino professionals report code switching at work often or almost always, compared to 14% of white professionals. Studies indicate that code switching requires significant cognitive load, reducing mental energy available for actual work tasks and leading to higher rates of burnout and decision fatigue. Employees who frequently code switch report 30 to 40% higher rates of workplace exhaustion and are 2 times more likely to consider leaving their jobs within 12 months. These are as eye-opening and glaring as these numbers sound. I'm not surprised not one bit.
At all.
Not a bit. And I mean, like, this is something I think that's just like, and this is one of the things that, like, this is one of those things that, like, people can tell you, but you won't really understand it until you're thrown into it. You will just never understand it if you don't come from somewhere that's like, you're just not the norm. And
facts. Shout out all my warehouse workers, my municipal workers, who I'm sure it's not a whole lot of code switching when you just working with people that are on the same like level. Corporate, corporate code switching. I'm surprised these numbers aren't greater. To be honest, 60% of Black, 40% of Latino. I'm surprised it's not more. But then again, a part of me also isn't too surprised because there are some people in these demographics who feel like they are a part of the code that they have to switch to naturally, so they probably don't feel like they're switching. You know, the 14% white professionals, I'm surprised it's that high. I assume that goes down to like cultural differences. I mean, obviously, no demographic of people all have the same culture, especially not in America. So I could see, like, you know, if you're from the South, you got like an accent, you know, you talk a little different, like you know, just the way that you go about things. And you were to come somewhere, let's say Seattle, Washington, uh, you come over here, you try to talk with some Georgia twang in your voice. Ooh, you know, it'll make you feel a type of way, especially if you feel like you're code switching. You have to be someone who you're not. Obviously, you don't want to be your authentic self at work. And, you know, it kind of, to me, goes to that point of should the individual or institution change? At the end of the day, as hard as it is, you're responsible for how you feel. You are responsible for how you handle situations, how you respond to situations. People, you know, we want to say things got to change, things got to be better, but at the end of the day, it's your mindset. Everyone else you work with has their mindset, and the people that make the rules have their mindset. You just aren't a rule maker. So it definitely sucks if you feel like, you know, you put on your best outfit, your best suit, your best work clothes, and you put a fake smile on your face, slapped your glasses on with no prescription, and got your hair in a way that you don't like, but just so that, you know, you can go in and not get second guessed or questioned on your intelligence. And you go in and people very clearly either don't have shoes on or haven't you know, bathed, proper hygiene, you know what I'm saying, leaving food in the refrigerator for weeks and months, just being very inappropriate with their language. You know, that stuff sucks. And I mean, it just goes to show you, and it's not just saying that this is a demographic either. Like I'm not going to sit here and say that it's like white people get a pass. That's not true. It really depends on where you're at. For being completely honest, if you work at a company where the management you're around, let's say all of your management is from Senegal, if you're a white person in there and you try to come bring, you know, how you act and you know everything else is like following like Senegalese culture, you're probably going to feel like you got a code switch a little bit because you're just going to feel like you're not fitting in or they're not going to take you serious. Same thing applies for everywhere else. It's just how many businesses and how many management are like Senegalese. That's just not a thing that I've seen personally. So representation. So I'm just putting that into perspective because I don't want people to think, oh, we're painting a picture. Oh, we're trying to say, oh, it's unfair for black people. No, that's not the case. That's not the case at all. It applies to everybody. However, me, I'm black. I can speak more to like people I've been around, people I know in my situations. So just trying to paint the picture so that you can imagine yourself in that situation if you've never been there.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it right on the nail for a lot of pieces, but I will say that like just speaking to like the psychological piece about like having to constantly translate yourself, that's a very real thing. And it's like, and as unfortunate as it is, it's like I like to think of them as strikes, right? So it's like, obviously, I don't think like a lot of these don't really apply now because like I look a lot different than when I did in college. When I was in college, I mean, bro, had every strike against me. One, black. Two, come from an HBCU that most people get mixed up with either NC State or they've never heard of it. Three, have locks, have tattoos, have earrings, basically. And any other, like in most places, this is like, huh, what are you got here? Type of situation. It's like it wasn't ever like clearly or explicitly stated, but you will know when you walk into certain rooms and you will know when you're around like certain groups that there's just this uneasy feeling where it's like you feel like you have to kind of like prove yourself. You have to feel like I have to show people why I belong to be in this room, to be in this space. And that's not a good feeling to always kind of have weighing down on you. And I think it has its benefits because it kept a chip on my shoulder and it gave me a reason to stay motivated. Outside of my own ambitions, it gave me a reason to stay motivated. But it's like, hey, I'm gonna show you why I deserve to be here. But it's just like the fact that, you know, someone has to go to these lengths to fit in, to show that they're qualified, that they're intelligent enough to be able to speak in the same language that you speak, to be able to perform at the same high level that you do, to be able to deliver quality like an impactful, like very like high quality and impactful results at the same level as you do, it's an uneasy feeling. That's just the way I would describe it. And most people just think like it just sounds like we whining or complaining. But if you've never experienced it, if you've never experienced like people giving you looks or hey, are you here through a DEI program? If you've never heard somebody ask you that straight to your face, you will not understand what I'm saying. And it's not until you actually hear those things in real life that it registers like, okay, this is actually how people perceive me. This is actually what people think of me. And it just gives me just another reason on my already extended list of why I have to go harder, why I have to show that I deserve to be here. Because like we said, this is our very first episode, dude. And that's a whole reason why we have this podcast. Because people like us don't get into the rooms that we are in now often. They don't. No matter how you want to frame it, we either need some type of special program where to be highly overly qualified. There's always it's just these extra lists and reasons as to why not, dude. That's literally why we have this podcast, because we want to break down the barriers between like what we've gone through, what we've seen firsthand, and what we hope to kind of like be our future.
Facts.
But I don't know. As far as like whose responsibility that falls on, I think it's both. I don't think you can pin that on one person, right? I don't think like it's the institution. These are private companies. They don't have to change every rule that they have written down to be accepting of every single person. There are still company standards and there's still business professional etiquette that you have to maintain to work at one of the top companies in the world. That's a given. And it's also the individual responsibilities to show up to work in a way that's a good representation of the company, a good representation of yourself. Just because you have the code switch does not mean that you come to work like anything, doing anything, because they have to accept you because you're different. No, there are still standards and regulations and policies that people have in place that you should be following. Because at the end of the day, you're a professional. That's the whole purpose of this. You're a professional. This is not a, you know what I'm saying? This isn't a club. This isn't a, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're still a professional at the end of the day. So it's both. It goes hand in hand. The same way that I show up to work and I'm dressed professionally, I'm groomed, I'm well dressed, I'm ready to work for the day, is the same way that companies should be like, hey, just because he's not the majority doesn't mean that we should have more scrutinized practices towards him. No, like it goes hand in hand. But
you got to think like they're probably not even realizing the scrutiny, because to them
they don't
the
understand
standard is that stereotype image of what they think is a good picture. You tell a lot of people to draw a picture of Jesus, they'll draw a white Jesus. You tell a lot of people to draw a picture of a worker, they're not gonna think. They might not even be thinking about color, ethnicity, race. But I mean, what they draw is what they naturally. It's just what's natural to them. And these people at the top, they're like that. I mean, but to your point, I do think there needs to be like better standards across for a lot of places. For one, closed-toed shoes. I shouldn't be seeing bare feet on the ground. I shouldn't. If I'm at work and I'm smelling your toes, holy smokes, brother! That's crazy. You telling me I got to go through a 20-round interview to get in here, and then I get here and there's people walking around with the toes out and their pajamas on. You know, haven't took a comb or a brush to their dome, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not. It is on the industry because they set the rules and they allow this stuff to happen. However, I think the rules need to actually be somewhat enforced across the board. Like, getting rid of somebody because they have locks, but not getting rid of somebody else that comes in with no shoes on is crazy to me. If you can't go in a gas station without shoes and a shirt, you shouldn't be able to go to work at a corporate office without shoes and a shirt.
That's what I'm saying. That's another thing. Like, just like the double standards with like what's considered natural hair. Like the way that locks are kind of like demonized and looked at as a unkept or like not professional look, when any other demographic or any other ethnicity can have the same type of natural long hair, but it's just not demonized. And this also goes into like what most people look at, like what's perpetuated in all types of media. All you see on news are mugshots, are rappers, are professional athletes with dreads, and people think, oh, this must be all they can be. They can only either be a rapper, athlete, or they're in jail. They all have dreads. It's the only. But you will never see a headshot of a senior product manager with locks. You'll never see a headshot of a guy in investment banking with locks. You'll never see a headshot of a guy that owns a nonprofit working for his community, giving back with locks. Like, it's what's given. It's what's put out in front of people 24/7. So that's what the reality becomes, because it's not like they're ever going to step foot into our communities and kind of see like everyone's not like this, or that there's way more than meets the eye. So it's just like it's so many different factors. It's just the the ignorance, the kind of, what's perpetuated by different media, what's, I don't know, man. It's a lot, but
It's too much. I've had people, black people at that, tell me, look at what they're doing in Chicago. What about Chicago? I'm like, what about Chicago? Like, you take, like, people take the smallest percentage of things happening and just paint a narrative. Like, I think with locks, they associate it with violence. They associate it with like dominance and aggression, and they think of somebody violently swinging punches and locks flying everywhere. It's like you're just scared. Like you are letting your fears, just because you kind of sweet. You know what I'm saying? Don't mean you should let it affect your whole company, your whole business, because you're missing out on a ton of talent. Like, what's that dude that I haven't seen him in a while actually, but the guy who made the engine from like corn
yeah, I know he's on
gasoline.
TikTok. It's like a dude on LinkedIn who's like a senior engineer at NASA with locks. It's but like at the end of the day, bro. Like I said, because I'll even be like, I know that when I had locks, bro, like just the type of looks I would get from people, or like just like the intimidation I could kind of feel. And it's like, bro, I'm not an intimidating guy. Look at me, bro. Like, bro, I look like Morty from Rick and Morty right now, bro. Like when I had locks, bro, like hot locks down to my shoulders, the type of looks I'd get when I go into gas stations, or like go into like a more expensive like store. Just come, hey, yeah, you need help, anything? I go in now, nobody bat an eye at me. But when I went in with locks, hoodie, you know what I'm saying, with black clothes, dudes coming up, oh, you need help with anything? Yo, bro, I can help you out, bro. Yo, what you in here for, bro? Bro, I'm the same dude. I just had a little more hair, but like, bro, like, it's just crazy to see that difference. People will think like, oh, bro, you making this up. I promise you, man, if you haven't been like in it, or you haven't felt it or experienced it, you will not be able to relate. Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
had to
just,
stop wearing book bags and bringing bags out in public. I had to stop. I don't even put a hood on. Like, I've been
oh no, I don't wear no hoods.
traumatized to the point. It's like, bro, I don't put hoods on. I don't like going in expensive stores. I really don't even like going to Nike, bro. I've been followed, stopped, told, hey, let me hold your stuff. While you look around in here,
Nobody stopped me at Nike.
bro.
I'm
I
going.
went in Nike. And I'm not gonna lie, it be your own people too. I've actually been followed in the store more by black people than white people, and like that, because they believe the same stereotypes. Like it's the how do I say this? The mindset from hundreds of, not even hundreds, from years ago, where they're trying to do what they think is right, and they think something is right. They think their master, I guess you can use that word, master, told them to do this, so they're trying to be good in master's eyes. Maybe they'll get a treat. You will not get a treat. You will get the same boot that everyone else is getting. So like, if anyone's ever seen Django, Samuel L. Jackson character, you going out the same way, big dog.
Yeah,
They
bro.
don't care about you.
Uncle Ruckus types. But hey, man, some I've always heard, man, are your skin folk, ain't your kin folk, man. So yeah, game is game, man.
It's rough out here.
We wrapping up on that.
Let me see. Yeah. I don't really. I kind of want a quick question, like the Nancy Guthrie situation.
Guthrie.
Um,
Wait,
no, not.
are you talking about the mom that got captured?
Yeah, the one who got
Is there
kidnapped
an
and
update
stuff.
on that?
I think last thing I saw, they were sending out another video, and they said that they might have DNA from the kidnapper. I did hear that the daughter, she was like one of the first like big pushers on the Epstein stuff. So like obviously her mother's still missing, right? Like, I'm not trying to sit here and like talk about somebody's missing mother. I really hope they find her. I'm not gonna lie, she's been gone for a while. I hope they get some information. But I just want to see what you
Yeah, I
thought
seen that.
about
It
that.
says a glove near her home appears to match someone worn by the suspect seen in her home doorbell's camera footage. Yo, this story is going into the third week. I really pray that she's good, bro.
That's what I'm trying to say. If someone's missing
That's
for
scary, bro. I cannot imagine somebody breaking in the crib and stealing my mom for 3 weeks, bro. I'd be losing my mind. Yeah, that's crazy.
So I'm like, I think that speaks to a bigger thing. Like, even if you want to ignore, this conspiracy theories around it, it's like the first 48 hours are the most crucial time in any crime, missing persons case, whatever. She's been gone for 3 weeks. And we live in a day and age where there's AI everywhere. They can track if you put something in your cart in the grocery store and walk out with it. But somebody can, on camera, break into a house, kidnap somebody, and 3 weeks go by and they can't find them. I really struggle. Like Palantir, we know you're out there. We know you have the tech. We know these companies and organizations have the tech that is in use. Maybe we should stop over policing and brutalizing and marginalizing minority communities, and we should start actually putting this stuff towards some good use, because we have high profile people getting kidnapped out of their homes, families being ripped apart, and we're wasting tech and money.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
man.
just wanted to see what you thought about. See, yeah, that's a crazy case to me. I really hope they find it though.
Yeah, man. Prayers up to her and her family, man. I hope the mother is in good health, safe, totally traumatized. But yeah, I hope that whole situation get resolved like sooner rather than later. But yeah, man. We gonna go ahead and wrap up for today, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in with us as always, man. Like I said, we love the feedback. We understand this is a long run. We're not expecting to blow up overnight. We're going to keep on putting out our stuff, keep on pushing out great content. As long as you guys are, receptive of it, getting something out of it, then it's a job well done in our eyes. So once again, we appreciate all of our supporters, all of our listeners, anybody that reposts, likes, comments, reshares our content on any platform. We are deeply appreciative of you. We look forward on learning right along with y'all, man. So yeah, as always, we're available on podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Where else are we available? Yeah, TikTok, all that good stuff. Basically, any of the big social medias you can find us, man. Black Box
Look
Theory
up
Pod.
Black Box Theory Podcast. Yeah, just
Yeah,
check
man.
us out.
Facts, man. We appreciate y'all, man. Let's go ahead. I don't know if some people might have had work today. Prayers if you did, man. But hey, man, let's have a great week. Let's keep working, keep learning. There's much more to do, man. So we will catch y'all next week on the next episode. This was Black Box Theory Podcast. Closing out.
Peace.
Peace, y'all. Love and blessings.